a secret. Sometimes we have movie stars on this show who in private will admit they don't like the movie too much. These guys watch that with such... You like this movie, don't you?
I love it. I love it.
You said what? Those cuts were so good.
Well, I mean, the way the film is put together, I really enjoy.
Is this as good as the first?
I'm mostly excited because you see a real growth in the characters. I chose to play Luke in the first one in a specific, very innocent, very young style, so there would be a contrast, and I really feel that my character's paying off now, and then you will see a different set of characters in the third one, because there is a progression.
You said you signed a contract 4 years ago to do the 3 films. Given that Star Wars was the biggest moneymaker of all time, made a fortune, are you guys being compensated better this time than you were for the first film?
It really made a lot of money?
A fortune.
Oh. Wow.
Well, these are dollar bills coming out of it. No, are you doing better now?
No, we are. We have been more than justly treated by George Lucas.
Don't hear that too often.
Right. Well, the nice thing was that he made it a gift so that you don't have a lot of unhappiness.
Is it a secret which of the two of you wins the love of Princess Leia?
I think it's best to keep as many surprises as possible. It's like your sister telling you what you're getting for Christmas. You have to fake that surprise. Oh boy, a new bike.
I was surprised. And congratulations to the lucky man. You'll have to find out which one won for yourself.
Han!
Your Highnessness?
I thought you would decide to stay.
Well, the bounty hunter we met on Nord Mendel changed my mind.
Does Luke know?
He'll know when he gets back. Don't look at me like that. More jobless bounty hunters after me every day. If I don't get this price off my head while I still have one.
Han, we need.
We need?
Yes.
What about you need?
Aesthetically, it's a very different movie. It's a much more dramatic film, and it's much more of a tragedy, which is a large shift. It's still got a lot of humor in it, got its funny moments, but essentially its story is developing, and therefore the characters are becoming more serious.
I don't know what he's saying. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I do hope he's all there, if you see what I mean. It's most unfortunate that Master Luke got short-circuit.
Commander Skywalker has been ill and Dormishant, but is responding well to the doctor. He is presently out of danger.
Thank the Maker.
Cut! 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 All right, no good. Let's do it again. It's almost unreal. Nothing grows here. It's a glacier. It's north. The weather's bad, which is what we want. And it looks like another planet.
It's much more of a fantasy than it is a science fiction film, which is done really to give it the more fairy tale-like, make-believe quality.
The inanimate miniature Tauntaun was put in motion by the then bearded Phil Tippett. He helped bring Star Wars creatures to life by photographing them one frame at a time. making slight adjustments of the creature before each shot.
The Tauntauns and the Walkers were the two first things that got the stop motion department up and running on Empire, making things that you could not produce any other way, and making articulated models of strange creatures, putting them in photographic backgrounds, and trying as hard as you could to make it appear as though those performances that were shot one frame at a time had the same mass and weight and lighting effects as the photographic backgrounds that your live characters are in. I just did a whole bunch of 8 or 10 drawings, and then I did like a little clay maquette of one of the drawings with a little rider on the back of it, which was my best guess. We brought that up to George, and he said, well, this looks like a good one. And that was the idea. It was just a thing that got people from A to B that just helped kind of flesh out the reality of the snow landscape of Hoth. If you have a shot that requires the Tauntaun to take a breath, fall down, do a death rattle, and a final breath, each of these moments, you just scale them. So it's like a 4-second shot, and something like that could easily take 6 to 8 hours to shoot, because you got to make sure that you're trying to register everything very carefully, and you can't kick any of the lights. If you kick any of the lights, then you have to start the shot over. Or literally sculpting in space and time.
Streaming our favorite shows, keeping in touch with our loved ones, and even our banking is mostly done online these days. We'd like to think our information is safe, but as our online footprint increases, so does our need for proper security. Surfshark adds an extra layer of security when you're online to keep all of your passwords, photos, and videos safe. There's a lot of websites and hackers that take your info without you even knowing it, but you can swim under their radar using Surfshark VPN, a virtual private network. Surfshark is a VPN service that protects your information by encrypting all of the data that you send through the internet. You can stop websites from tracking your info and selling targeted ads to you. With the click of a button, you can forget about data mining and intrusive advertisements. One of my favorite features of Surfshark is that you can see content not available in your area. Disney Plus or Netflix, for example, have different movies for each country. Access should not be tied to a region. In China, YouTube and most social media websites are banned. With Surfshark, you can solve the problem by simply changing your location. Just connect to the service and refresh the page. Surfshark is an app and browser extension that enables you to place your laptop or phone anywhere in the world and allows you to access the internet as if you were in that country. You can watch any content anywhere in the world on any of your devices. Surfshark turns you into an anonymous and hard-to-trace online user and makes the internet a safer and more enjoyable place for you. I use Surfshark every day. It automatically starts up whenever I start my PC, and whenever I need it, I activate it with just one click. Surfshark is the only VPN to offer one account to use on an unlimited number of devices. If you want both protection and freedom online, use my code NMSW, short for Not My Star Wars, to get 83% off plus 3 extra months for free. Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk to try it out for yourself. The link is in the description below.
Leia, I have to go away for a while.
What? Where are you going?
To another system. It's not far from here.
That's great. That's just great. Why doesn't everybody just take off?
What are you talking about?
First Han, now you. When am I going to learn not to count on anyone but myself?
I didn't know he was leaving.
You know, I was getting along fine before I met you two moon jockeys.
Calm down. Tell me about Han.
Oh, he's got to pay off that criminal he's in hock to.
Jabba the Hutt.
You know, I could get more loyalty if I went down the hall and recruited some of those ice creatures.
Ice creatures? Here?
Oh, yes, sir. But they're being trapped rather cleverly.
Hey, you kid! You don't look so bad to me. In fact, he looks pretty good. You look strong enough to pull the ears off a Gondark.
Thanks to you.
That's 2, Yomi Jr. Well, your worship.
I think it's going to look very different, and I think it's going to be a much different film, really.
The original design for the walkers came from a piece of artwork that Sid Mead had done that was an ad for a big corporation.
Joe talked to him about basing his design on Sid Mead's work, and Sid was fine with that. It wasn't a direct copy, it was just inspiration.
I saw some of the early designs for it. It was always the 4 legs, but it didn't originally have the head on it, and the legs were farther apart, and it just was kind of this bulky sort of thing. And at some point in there, it became more dog-like, and so you could relate to it subconsciously. It sort of had a head, which is where the control guys kind of were, which makes no sense. Why weren't they in the actual thing? It didn't have a tail, but it had the 4 legs that were put together, tighter so the hips weren't as wide apart, and you could really recognize it then and kind of relate to it. And it was just a great design.
They had electric clutches in the joints so they could trigger the legs to collapse on cue. The thing got to be so heavy, the electric clutches just wouldn't hold up and fire on cue. We ended up hanging the guy from a rope, released a rope and pulled him down with the smaller cable. He had little explosions going on throughout the bodywork, and it just looked great. It had tremendous mass. The way it fell, you believed it was 100 tons.
Stand by, Dak.
Well, the rebels used the speeder to take down the snow walkers, the giant AT-ATs. And what they would do is fly around the legs, ejecting a cable so they could tie up the legs and trip the walkers. We built several. One was a pyro model that would crash into the snow and blow up. It was a very small model, maybe a foot long, and to make it look like a 20-foot long aircraft was a real trick. My role was to animate the air brakes, the flaps on the back. As the animated flaps would move, of course the ship would bank and turn. We animated the pilots so they would go around, look where they're flying. The day we did the pyro shot, it was such an impressive shot. After doing a few tests, everybody knew this was going to be spectacular. The entire company was on a balcony overlooking the stage, and our manager came in and looked around and said, "Oh my God, this is costing me $1,000 a minute to have all these people watching." I mean, there was literally nobody working. Everybody was waiting for that shot.
Something as large as Star Wars, which is a very, very complicated kind of movie, it really needs a lot of people all working together to make it happen. At least 40 or 50 people intimately involved on the creative level, between the screenplay and the directing and the special effects and the sound and the music and just the overall productions. A lot of people make a significant contribution.
Please like, subscribe, and comment on the video. May the Force be with you.
Impressive. Most impressive.